Hey everyone, welcome to Psych Sauce, your go-to channel for deep, mind-blowing psychology facts, smart thinking hacks, and human behavior secrets. If you're into psychology, self-mastery, or understanding how the mind really works, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Gaslighting. What is gaslighting? Gaslighting is more than manipulation, it's a calculated tactic of control. Manipulation tactic where someone makes another person doubt their own perception, memory, or sanity, often to control or confuse them. It is the deliberate psychological strategy of making someone doubt their own memory, perception, or sanity. But when viewed through a Machiavellian lens, gaslighting becomes something even more dangerous, a weapon of power. If controlling your perception gives me power, then your reality must become mine. And once you surrender your trust in your own thoughts, memory, and intuition, you've given them the key to your mind. That's when the manipulator no longer needs to argue, they simply declare what is real, and you follow. This is the very core of gaslighting. In this tactic, the manipulator systematically distorts your reality, not just to win an argument, but to own your mind. They do not confuse you by accident. They confuse you on purpose, so you stop trusting yourself and start relying on them for the version of truth. So, let us jump to how to know if a manipulator is gaslighting you. One of the most obvious signs of gaslighting is denial of facts that are clearly true, even when you both witnessed the evidence, even when it was something they themselves said. This is not just lying. According to Machiavellian thinking, this is a power tactic. In The Prince, Machiavelli suggests that controlling perception is more important than truth itself. For the manipulator, the aim isn't to prove they are right, it is to make you feel wrong. They want to create confusion, not clarity. The moment you begin to question your own memory or perception, they win control of your reality. He argued, "It is not the truth that matters, but the ability to shape what others believe is the truth." By denying obvious facts, they shift the power dynamic in the conversation. They make you feel unstable or even crazy, and they erode your confidence in your own memory and experiences. And when you no longer trust yourself, you start depending on them, not just for truth, but for emotional validation. This gives them the upper hand in every future disagreement. Over time, this tactic destabilizes your inner world, increases your emotional dependence, and isolates you mentally, and sometimes socially. It's not just a debate, it is psychological warfare with your reality as the battlefield. The second tactic is, a manipulator's next move is to twist the narrative, to reshape the story of what happened in a way that makes them look innocent, justified, or even like the victim. Even when they're clearly in the wrong, they retell the situation so that it favors them. This isn't just lying, it's calculated. It's storytelling as a weapon. They'll say things like, "You misunderstood me. I only did that because you made me." The purpose is to make you doubt your memory, feel guilty for standing up, and ultimately become emotionally dependent on their version of reality. From a Machiavellian lens, this is about controlling perception to preserve power. If the manipulator can control how you view the past, they can escape accountability and justify future mistreatment. This tactic slowly erodes your confidence in your own judgment. You begin to second-guess your instincts. You overreacting? Did I misread them? That confusion is the trap, and when you stop trusting your own interpretation of events, you start leaning on theirs. This gives them even more control, not just over the relationship, but over your sense of reality itself. The third trick manipulators use when gaslighting you is minimizing your emotions, making you feel small in order to stay in control. From a Machiavellian perspective, this tactic is strategic. If your feelings are invalid, then their actions remain untouchable. It's not just emotional dismissal. It's psychological control disguised as logic. Manipulators will downplay your emotional reactions using phrases like, "You're overreacting," or "You're just too sensitive." Each of these is carefully designed to shake your emotional confidence and make you ashamed for feeling anything at all. The purpose is clear deflection, so they don't have to face their own behavior, because invalidated feelings mean no accountability and control, because the more you doubt yourself, the more you rely on them to tell you how to feel. This isn't about being rational, it's about silencing you while they remain in command. What this does to you over time is deeply damaging. You start to feel dramatic, unstable, or even crazy. You begin suppressing your emotions just to avoid judgment. You stop expressing yourself entirely, just to keep the peace. Worst of all, you may eventually trust their version of your emotions more than your own. And once your feelings are under their control, your identity and inner compass start to disappear. This is how emotional minimization becomes a silent, invisible leash, tightened a little more each time you're told that your pain doesn't matter. The next tactic a manipulator uses is confusion as a control tool. According to Machiavellian thinking, this isn't accidental. It's strategic chaos, designed to make you emotionally and mentally disoriented so that you no longer trust your own judgment. When you're unsure of what's real, you begin to depend on the manipulator for clarity. This gives them total psychological control. In toxic relationships, confusion shows up in the form of mixed messages. They say one thing and do another, like "I love you," right after lying or betraying you. Then there are contradictions. They constantly change their stories or backtrack on things they clearly said or did, like denying contact with an ex and later claiming, "We're still friends, you knew that." Over time, this creates emotional whiplash, a toxic cycle of sudden affection followed by coldness. One day you're adored, the next day ignored. You become addicted to the emotional highs of their approval and stuck chasing clarity in a fog they created. Confusion also appears in arguments. You bring up a concern with evidence, and they spin it around, deny it, or accuse you instead. At the end of the day, the goal isn't the argument, it's you. In toxic love driven by Machiavellian manipulation, the point of the argument is never to resolve anything. It's to wear you down, control you emotionally, and reshape who you are. They're arguing to drain you and slowly reprogram your reality. The fight isn't the battlefield you are. They create emotional exhaustion through constant drama, silent treatments, or explosive fights. Conflict becomes a weapon because it weakens you emotionally. Every conversation becomes a character attack, not a solution. And over time you get quieter, more doubtful, more submissive, just to keep the peace. You begin to filter your truth, shrink your needs, and question your own worth, because every time you speak up, you're punished emotionally. And that is the manipulator's true goal, to change who you are. The Machiavellian mindset says, if I can train you to stop defending yourself, I can do whatever I want. Breaking the cycle of gaslighting begins with reclaiming your inner clarity, one truth at a time. The first step is recognizing that confusion is the weapon, not your weakness. If something feels wrong or off, then it probably is. Trust your gut. This helps restore your grip on reality, detaching also from the manipulator's emotional narrative, like guilt, pity, or rage to keep you in their story. Don't engage emotionally when they bait you. Stay grounded. Say less. Respond with calm. The third step is setting small boundaries. You don't have to explain yourself endlessly. You don't owe emotional labor to someone who distorts your reality. These boundaries signal that you're no longer available to be controlled. The fourth step is rebuilding your emotional independence. Start defining your own truth without their permission. Journal your feelings. Surround yourself with people who reflect honesty, not distortion. Seek support, therapy, education, community, because gaslighting thrives in silence, but it crumbles in clarity. Lastly, understand this. Leaving isn't weakness, it's recover. If you enjoyed that, like and subscribe.